We've talked about your foray into the digital medium, but you, prior to that, really had adopted the medium of television. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into television, how that's really become such an integral part of what you do here at Midway USA?
Hunting shows on cable television are a very new thing. So in the old days, and this has been maybe early 2000, early 21st century, I begin to get exposed to these things. And I have the idea, why don't we produce some content for them? Because I felt like they were a little bit light on content that was really professional. It was just kind of a talk show and let's go hunting and the camera will follow us. And so there came up the idea of literally creating the vignettes, the things that we teach on, and literally submitting them as content. From there we put the studio together. From there we started doing our own advertising, writing our own commercials and crafting them. And the whole thing just kind of evolved into this department, if you would, in the organization, which is called the Gun Tech Department. And this mission to film interesting content and to film our own commercials where you have the control of them and you can produce what you believe is directly linked to what the customer's interested in.
Well, it's obviously proven fruitful. As you said, you shoot in here. If you're not hunting, you're in here, what, 3 mornings a week, right? So speaking of hunting, gunsmithing, reloading, shooting, obviously 3 core elements or components of your business, but recently, more recently, you've gotten into the hunting business. Can you talk about that a little bit? I mean, obviously you personally have your avocation for hunting, but now you've made it a major element of your business model.
Pretty much my personality is one, if you're going to do something, do it right. And don't be trying to jump around and do a lot of new things until you've got the old things finished up. So do you really have your gunsmithing program perfectly deployed? And if you don't, why don't you go finish that up before you launch something new? Do you have your reloading perfectly deployed? Do you have your shooting program? So I'm, as a CEO, as the business leader, I'm never interested in playing, in grabbing a new toy to play with it until we adequately have mastered the old ones. And so we would be the best in the business, I believe, in our reloading products offering, our shooting products offering, our gunsmithing products offering. Okay, when you get that, then you can go into archery, then you can go into hunting.
Right.
And hunting is the biggest piece to master besides fishing tackle, I believe. So what effort do you have to put into hunting to make it work? And it's a huge, huge effort. If you start that too early, you'll never finish up the other stuff. Right. So we waited and we waited and we waited to launch hunting, and now we can put a huge amount of resources into it and not feel like we're leaving something undone that should have been finished. That's the reason for getting into hunting. I've always been a hunter, and lots of folks in here are. So it would have been logical for us to not have had the discipline to wait, but a great business would always have the discipline to do the right thing, even if you have to wait a year or 2 or 3 after you wanted to do it before you could do it and do it successfully.
So you've introduced it, you're doing it right. If you were to look into the crystal ball, is there another category, a what's next that you're looking at, that you're analyzing as to when the right time that might be to introduce into the business?
We have a really, really strong strategic planning process here. So every idea that is worth pursuing flows through the strategic planning process, gets sliced and diced to decide if we're going to do it, to put it in priority, and to get it implemented either this year or next year or sometime in the future. So there are lots and lots of ideas that would bounce around, that would get into the strategic planning process, that would never get prioritized and launched. So yes, there are things in front of us that we'd like to do, that we will do as the organization continues to grow and expand. I can't tell you what those are.